Hello, everyone. Welcome to our latest one-shot, Telling Tales, Troika. That's what we're doing today. So, without any further ado, let's talk about Troika a little, shall we? What we're playing today is this wonderful indie TTRPG from Melsonian Arts Council. It's been around for a few years now, and sort of the pitch of it is what if. Kind of our primary role-playing experience was based on weird-ass British 60s and 70s sci-fi and fantasy instead of Tolkien. It's odd, it's surreal, it's off-kilter, it's a lot of fun. This is actually the second ever one-shot that we streamed back in... I'm not even going to pick the year. It was a couple of years ago now. We did Alien and then we did Troika. And we had a lot of fun with it. We ran the scenario in the book, which is called The Blamonge Thistle. And then we kind of put it to one side for a long while. But for various reasons, which I'll get into shortly, we are revisiting Troika several times at the beginning of the year. So there we go. And we've got a whole bunch of people for this one-shot playing. Some of them are playing their characters from the original one-shot. Others are new. One is very new because the character was made 5 minutes ago due to them only realizing they could play about 10 minutes ago, which is why we were slightly late on, so apologies for that. But we're here now, and that's what counts, obviously. Before I start bringing people on and we start talking about the various weirdos that make up this player group, and I mean the players, not just the characters, let's do the usual promo nonsense. If you check down below this stream, you will find a number of links. You'll find links to YouTube and to Twitch. You can find us on both those places. Indeed, you are watching us on one of those places right now via the magic of the internet. You'll also find links to our Patreon, our Discord, our social media, our merch store, all the things you might expect you can find for us below. We run 3 weekly stream nights. Mondays currently is Warhammer. Wednesdays is Simbaroom. Thursdays alternates between Wicked Ones and The Big Wet. And we run one-shots about once a month. That's what you're watching right now. As for what's coming up on those one-shots for the rest of the year, we don't really know too much at the moment. We'll be revisiting Troika in March. At some point later in the year, we might do We Deal in Lead, although that might be a recorded series now. We're not entirely sure. So everything's kind of up in the air. But that's all fine. That's all good. Okay, let's start bringing on our players so they can talk about their characters and talk about the weirdness of Troika. So let us start with John. It's John.
Hello.
Hello. So John is playing Her Royal Majesty Queen Katrine McGith. We've got a little image. These are the art from the book for these classes, right? So they're not meant to necessarily be entirely representative of the character, but it's nice to have the art up because it's fun. John, why don't you tell us about Queen Katrine? And did she enjoy the events of Blamonge Thistle? Was that a thing that was good for her? I don't know.
She did not particularly. Queen Katrine Magieth, the 4th of the House of Caerwyn, 6th of the House of Alduin, Dirtborn liberator and lonesome monarch, left the moonlit forests of Camereth to attend her own royal wedding to a king of great repute, with whom she will forge across the worlds of Troika, only to find out that the powerful king was in fact 3 goblins in a trench coat, none of whom held a title between them. And unfortunately, she's sort of forgotten how to get home. So her main aim is to either get home or find another monarch to marry. So home or love. She did not enjoy the events of Blamonge Thistle. She had to share a hotel room with a bunch of peasants. No one proposed to her. She almost married a monkey. And all in all, it was just quite a stressful occurrence.
Almost is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, certainly. The monkey was interested. But you didn't get, there wasn't a ring, for example.
No.
No. So it was holding off a bit. Yeah, there we go. As if people hadn't guessed, Queen Katrine was one of the characters from the original one-shot, which is why there may be two of our newer players kind of wrinkling their brows at the bottom of the screen now with, holy shit, I have to have a backstory like that, and I haven't got... It's fine, you don't. John, this is from the old one-shot. It's all fine, don't worry. Speaking of that old one-shot, would this be Troika if we didn't have a monkey monger? Steve is here as well, and Steve plays Carrick, the monkey monger.
Hello.
Tell us about Carrick, and tell us about how he feels after finishing up at the Launch and Thistle.
Yeah, okay. So Carrick is rather a different station to Queen Katrine, etc. Carrick is of much more sort of lowly means. Looks pretty dishevelled and pretty sort of tired and pretty scratched and beaten up, and wears clothes that are sort of ragged and bulging, and the bulges kind of move around because there are 3 monkeys that sort of climb on and around Carrick's person. Yeah, Carrick is a monkey monger. He was originally selling these delicious edible monkeys in his homeland, the Wall. But yes, either he fell or was pushed, tumbled a significant distance, and ended up with just 3 monkeys, wandering the lands of Troika, and found himself with the previous party, and somehow managed to survive the travails of getting to the top of the Blancmange and Thistle, only missing an ear. An owl somewhere, I think, still has Carrick's ear.
Assuming they haven't just eaten it.
Yeah.
Or flung it out into the city of Troika somewhere. But yeah, absolutely. The story last time was, as I say, the default core book one of the Blancmange and Thistle, which is basically characters arriving at a hotel called Blancmange and Thistle and then having to get to their room. And a dungeon crawl essentially ensues. So there we go. But it's time to bring on some of the new players now. And we'll start with Inga. You know Inga. Everyone knows Inga. Everyone watches the channel knows Inga. Not just everyone. That would be weird.
I've achieved a level of fame I didn't realize. Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an honor.
So, hello, Inga. Inga has rolled up a new character for this Troika one-shot, and that character is an epopt called Nelaim. Nelaim?
Nelaim.
Nelaim.
So yeah, Nelaim is a seer. She has visions, which of course means that she's pretty much constantly on the run because no one likes the visions in reality. It sounds like a nice idea to, go get your fortune told, but no one ever likes what reality. Who enjoys their lives? You want to hear about it in advance and then have to experience it too. So people just won't listen. So she's moved around a wee bit. She, as you can see here, she's got these lovely yellow and blue robes and cap, which advertise her wares as an epopt and as a seer. So yeah, she's a bit of a nomad, I guess, traveling around the place, just staying alive.
Just aren't we all? Aren't we all? And speaking of staying alive, our final player today, someone who's managed to do that up until this point, as have we all for the most part, is Alex, who many of you will know from the aforementioned Alien one-shots, right? Is that all you've done on the channel, Alex? Do you use something else?
Just some Death in Space.
Death in Space. Yes,
yeah. Basically everything where you can die in space is what I've done.
Yes. Yeah.
Just
let me tell you can definitely die in space in Troika. I can confirm. This is your favorite genre.
I'm blissfully ignorant of basically everything around me up to this point. I was considering having like a sort of gimmick where I'm like, okay, my character was hunting a wizard and has been cursed with memory loss. So
do it.
I think I'm going to do that.
Troika is the place for everything random. So there we go.
Yeah.
And speaking of hunting wizards, Alex is indeed playing a wizard hunter. called Tanru Aishal, by the look of it, or Aishal.
Yep.
Yep.
I went with
Is that bad?
I shall. Yeah.
So obviously the character has lost their memory, Alex. But why don't you tell me a detailed and exhaustive history of Tanru's life
Excellent.
to this point?
Well, they started as a poor shoemaker's son, and then, were horribly bullied in school by this gang of wizard kids, and then, insert fluff, and then, decided to take their career path as for ultimate vengeance. Yeah, that's it.
Stage 1, bullied by wizard kids.
Yeah,
Stage 2,
wizard hunter.
Stage 3, wizard
yeah,
hunter.
exactly.
Yeah.
Stage 2, you fill in the blanks yourself. Really, it's the theater of the mind. It's fine.
Absolutely. If people couldn't guess, Alex is the person who joined us unexpectedly. So, but we're thoroughly grateful because 4 is better than 3, isn't it?
I think it's
just
magic
better.
number. Yeah.
It's better in every
It's
way.
objectively more.
It is. If nothing else can be said of it, then it is certainly objectively more.
It decreases the chance of being hit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. Steve's meat shield.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's before we start talking about not so much setting a little bit, but kind of setting up the story this time. There's also another reason why we are playing Troika today and why we are playing Troika in 2 months' time. And I announced an announcement multiple times going into this one shot. And what we're going to do right now is take a look at what that announcement might be. If I actually have do I have the thing? Is there anything incriminating on here? No, there's nothing incriminating on here. Let's do this. Okay. So the reason we're playing Troika a bunch at the beginning of the year is because, we're only going and doing a Kickstarter, folks. Look at this. We've decided to spread our wings out into the magical world of writing TTRPGs, as well as playing them for you here on the internet. And this is our first one. We're entering into the Zine Quest event on Kickstarter in February, which means on February the 1st, we'll be launching this Kickstarter. It is a Troika setting zine, with all the kind of like Troika things you might expect, like a description of the place, backgrounds, bestiary, spells, equipment, some adventure locations in there as well, for a setting which is a sphere entirely made up of a vast and rambling pillow fort. There's some real weird stuff in there. There's some gonzo cosmic horror. We're really excited about this, about presenting it to you, and even more excited about making money off some of you from it. But yeah, it's an idea we had, and we're pretty psyched about it. So thought, what better place to announce it than on a Troika one-shot? What better place to announce it than on a one-shot where we traditionally get less viewers than on our weekly shows? But I'm sure many of you will see this on YouTube as well. We'll talk about it on the Discord and on our social media extensively. Don't you worry about that. But yeah, if you have Kickstarter accounts out there and this sounds like something you might be interested in, this digital zine of a sphere called The Soft, then please do feel free to click on that notify me on launch button. It helps push us up the rankings. So that is all a plus. And sorry.
Yeah, we should probably include the link somewhere.
Yeah. We could
Just
get the link in. Get the link in chat. That would be great. Yeah. We should go live with our launch on February the 1st. It'll only be a measly £5 for our digital zine. So yeah, if you're interested, we'd love to have you on board. Okay, that's enough shilling. By that I mean later I'll do some more shilling, but not right now. That would be silly. So there we go. That's why we're doing Troika. We hope that is exciting and not just that sounds awful. And for anyone who's even vaguely curious, if you do have any suspicions, being as I've referenced the show before on our streams, yes, I did come up with the idea while watching Community. So moving forwards, let's go to Troika. So after the events at the Blancmange and Thistle, the party, as it was, departed on a mission after a rumor they had discovered at the Festival of the Chiliarch. And that rumor was that Nostrificans, the mathemologist, had left the feast in a hurry after discovering he was and always has been a hard-light scaffold onto which more powerful egos project their ideas. He planned to kill his creator and transform into pure geometry. Now, that's just the rumor, and we didn't really talk about that too much at the end last time. So I would actually like to know, maybe more specifically from our original people, because the other two are going to meet them as we start playing. So you're pursuing Nostrificans the mathemologist. Is that so you can help him kill his creators, or so that you can get him for his creators before he kills his creators? It's entirely up to you. This is open role playing. It's incredible. It's basically improv.
I would like to know more about the creators.
No,
Oh,
no.
That's not a thing an investigation I can pursue.
No, it's a gut feel, you know? Are you on the side of the mathemologist or not? It's a simple question.
I'm on the side of whoever has the highest social standing and maybe eligible for marriage. Like,
I mean, one would have to. I mean, do you really want to marry a hard like scaffold? What future, what are the heirs going to be like in that circumstance?
Very customizable.
It's true. That is true, but also fundamentally not real. So
what is real, Matt? What is real?
That's gonna muddy the inheritance. I think, but I would say, who is higher on a social scale, a mathemologist or the people who invented the mathemologist? I mean, it's probably the latter, right?
I don't know. Doesn't that presuppose that everyone is inherently less famous than their parents?
I mean, you would hopefully think that, being a queen.
Who's higher status, Beyonce or the people that made Beyonce? Like, I don't know.
Sure. Who? No one can tell.
If only there was some kind of metric.
There's literally, there's like figuratively, like, yeah. I mean,
not even her with all her millions, all her billions can tell us who is higher status. I mean, what's the monkey monger's perspective on this, Steve?
I mean, Carrick's just looking for his next meal, really. So, whoever can offer a reasonable amount of coin whilst not being driven away by 3 monkeys.
I mean, I'm not saying you've talked. You have not talked to either Nostrificans nor his creators. So all this is gratis right now. But I was maybe just wondering, what's your intention when you do find the mathemologist? Sounds to me like you're after him and you don't even really know why.
Yeah.
And that's fine too.
It's very Troika, yeah.
Sure.
Step 1, find person. Step 2.
Step 3, profit.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. No, that's absolutely fine. Well, let me tell you, the patrons voted on which rumor to follow, and this was the one that won. And though we are playing a preset story, we are playing Fronds of Benevolence, this lovely zine type thing from it's made by Melsonian Arts Council, who do Troika. It's written by Andrew Walter. Even though we're running this, let me tell you, this is a story that has a number of interesting locations in it, which I will flash briefly and then take away. At one of these locations can be found Nostrificans the mathemologist. Can you miss him? Yes. Should you? Maybe. But I'm not going to tell. What I will say, the only clue I will give you to his location is that he, very near the beginning, you'll be given a choice of like what path to take, right? The location he's at can be accessed from both paths. So that's all I'm saying. Don't make that initial choice based on where you think Nostrificans might be. That's all. Not that you could. It would be weird if you thought you had a reasoning on that. But all I'm saying is you can get to him via both paths. So he's like a Wares. This is like a game of Wares and Nostrificans, right? You know that game.
It's quite the same ring to it, doesn't it? Really.
You're absolutely right, Alex. It's 10 times better.
Okay.
So there we go. But in terms of where you are and what is actually going on as we go into the session, where you are is a place called the Duchy of Plandra. And I'll talk a little bit about that. It's a peaceful territory, the linchpin of an uneasy truce between several ramshackle empires of pirate princelings with access to some nasty elder technology and weaponry. Were anything to happen to Plandra's stable government, this part of the land could swiftly be consumed in ash, war, and plunder. But fortunately, it does have a very stable government, and nothing is going to happen to change that. The government itself is in its entirety an individual called Duke de Corticus, who is a noble plant creature of indeterminate origin, who has reigned so long that even he cannot recall how or when he came to power, although he pointedly disdains the title of demigod. Whether or not he is considered dangerously teratogenic is a question waived by many inhabitants of Plandra in light of his excellent and benevolent rule. And furthermore to that, I would say that all four of you already have a link to Duke de Corticus, which I will detail right now. Steve, Carrick in the past sold a great many monkeys to the Duke de Corticus some years ago. He was assured by his courtiers that they were incredibly delicious, and he eventually made use of the shipment of monkeys himself as valued fertilizer, after the courtiers were done with them. John, Queen, you liaised with the Duke briefly as a potential match before being put off by both his relative low status and the realization that any heirs would be at best a whimsical new breed of broccoli. Inga, you were quite recently thrown out of the Duke's court for predicting current events with an alarming clarity, and then recalled once the events actually started happening and the prolocutor realized you weren't just trying to bum everyone out. And finally, Alex Tanru, you once hunted down a troublesome wizard for the Duke who had been doing some horribly obscene magical acts in the royal flower beds. And that's how you know the Duke. You've all been kind of called here through intermediaries because apparently the Duke de Corticus has need of you, as he had need of you in the past. And if there's one thing the Duke is to be relied on, it's he pays pretty well. And he's a friendly person as well. So I'm sure working for him again is just fine. With that in mind, we will start up with you all in the waiting chamber for the Duke de Corticus. It's a kind of a large, elaborate, multicolored chamber with lots of arches and sort of weird shaped rafters overhead. On a lot of the grounds, the walls, the furnishing, there are essentially offshoots of de Corticus just growing in little patches here and around. And you can see like courtiers moving around. They're mostly kind of human or humanoid. They're not all plant people like the Duke is. And over at the far end, there's kind of a door through to the Duke's private chambers. By that is his famed vizier, known as Prolocutor Jeremy, who is just kind of standing over there and dealing with some other business before he comes over to you. You're all seated together with each other. Why don't we have some role playing to kick us off between the group? The only two of you who know each other are obviously Katrine and Carrick, as the individuals from the Blancmange Thistle who have shed other companions in various ways. One of them mumbled something about needing to dry out. Another one of them decided to go back to briefly visit their own people who are infinitely superior to you. You know, the usual kind of excuses one might make. But yeah. And roleplay.
Well, I think Carrick is probably trying desperately to stop his monkeys from eating the plants around, and possibly the Duke's lesser tendrils. So this is the usual thing. Carrick will spend a lot of time just trying to corral these wayward monkeys. So he's probably rushing backwards and forwards in the back of the scene.
Sounds good. Anyone else? John?
Queen Katrine is once again tapping her foot impatiently, quietly furious that she is not being acknowledged, as she is clearly the highest ranked person here, and it is not proper for a queen to wait on a duke.
There's no arguing with that. Anyone else? Inga?
I think she is she's sitting there quietly, trying to keep her eyes down, knowing that inevitably, I mean, she's fairly well advertised what she does, and you know, she's sort of inviting. It's kind of like when you tell someone that you're a doctor or something like that, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, let me show you this weird like mark I've got." She's trying to like just quietly like avoid attracting attention for that kind of thing, but she's also just looking at the monkeys and just like getting these little flashes of visions, and just she's just seeing and like almost getting like the olfactory or like sense of the premonitionary of just the shit that is going to come from. I mean, you don't have to have visions to be able to see the mess that those monkeys are going to make, but she's really, really feeling that and just feeling a little bit queasy, I think.
That's absolutely fair. Alex, how about Tanru?
I think what Tanru is doing could best be described as sort of skulking, but in a sort of confused way. Because I feel like Tanru is basically just very anxious that he has no idea what he may have said to quite a lot of people. And this is a place that he is, not necessarily new to. So he's got sort of a deep seething anxiety about not being able to recall past events with any clarity, and where he may be vulnerable to what other people know.
And also perhaps like the awareness that a wizard hunter probably makes some enemies while hunting wizards.
Exactly.
Through things like torturing people to find out if they're a wizard, questioning people about being a wizard, finding out they're a wizard and hurting them horribly.
Making them just say they're a wizard, even if you're probably on the fence about the whole thing, just because it's expedient for the job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pissing off a lot of people who have no problem with wizards because there is no general laws or anything like that against being a wizard, so they might think, who the fuck is this person to come here hunting wizards? What is that? That's like going to somewhere and hunting the cook. Like, what are you doing? So yeah, that's all pretty legit. Well, as this is happening, slowly Prolocutor Jeremy seems to reach an agreement with whoever he's talking to, and he kind of like walks over to where you are. The Prolocutor is a kind of quite a tall, sort of an oldish looking gentleman. He has a pinkish crimson robe and an obviously fake big brown beard. In your previous interactions with him, you see he's somewhat stuffy, stands far more on ceremony than the Duke himself, but is almost certainly kind of loyal to a fault. And as he kind of comes towards you, he gives kind of like very sort of peremptory come here gestures to each of you with both of his hands in a slightly confusing flurry. Yeah.
I'll try to gather my monkeys up as best I can and head over quickly.
Is everyone kind of doing the same thing without the monkeys?
Finally.
I think Nelline was, a split second ahead of his entrance, started standing to...
Sure. Yeah. See, this just has strong energies of like, oh, what character am I thinking of? Oh God, it's like in an animated show or something. Oh, I'm literally thinking of the psychic character in Team America.
All
Who,
right.
like I sense that an like obvious thing is about to happen. Like you see him coming over, and like a second before you stand up, I knew you were coming over here to talk to us, even though he's walked.
Most things in life are fairly predictable.
Sure.
I had this crazy idea that you'd be wearing clothes and would have hair,
A face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of you stand and start walking along with Prolocutor Jeremy, who kind of walks you over to the doors to the Duke's private chamber and kind of holds them open and starts walking you along these long, kind of lush, like incredibly densely carpeted corridors, presumably to where the Duke is. He starts talking with no real kind of preamble of why you're here or anything like that, and just says, the Duke has a long and complex life cycle with many phases and sub-phases that depend on a regular supply of fresh water, sunlight, and most crucially, a substance of possible extra-dimensional origin known as rare earths, also known as star loam. Yes. It is only available in minute quantities from very specific parts of the world. Normally, the supply is delivered from the Wall, a region far to the south of where we are now, but of late, an anonymous yet official missive was sent to Plandra explaining in no uncertain terms that no more shall be delivered under any circumstances. This is obviously a matter of some distress to the Duke, who without it will, well, die. Yes. Mysteriously, around the same time the supply was cut off, rambling but professionally printed pamphlets in dark green ink on lime green paper began appearing throughout the kingdom and acquiring a steadily growing readership. Well, here is one. He unfurls a pamphlet from his robes and kind of hands it back to someone, just kind of like waving it around in the air. Who's going to attempt to grab it off his flailing arm?
I'll take it.
You'll take it? Okay. As he says, it's a sort of eye-melting printing of green on green. It is titled Theoretical Injustices Assume Reality, a short treatise on the absurdity of botanical beings assuming rule over mankind. This is very much seems very kind of unhinged and fanatical, even after a short read at the beginning of the pamphlet. It is it's pretty extremely seditious stuff. Every day, increased readership. It has a certain frisson over the mysterious, and most Plandrans harbour whims for the exotic, as you know. It is a problem, but more so of a problem is the rare earths, without which, as I say, the Duke will die badly. Yes. Oh, that's why you're here. I didn't quite intend Prolocutor Jeremy to just have Brian Butterfield's voice, but that's where we are now. I didn't. But I am very happy with it.
It works.
Is there any? You're still walking along these like feet sinking ever more into deeper carpet as you go.
Can I take the pamphlet and with through the just and kind of stare through the gem of the top on the top of my staff, my epoch staff, try to scan for any magical effect from the pamphlet or its meaning, its writings?
And this gives us a chance, doesn't it, to have our first roll and therefore explain the rules of Troika, which would be very useful for Alex, who doesn't know them at all. So most rolls in Troika are rolling 2d6 and trying to roll under a certain number, right? And that certain number in most cases will be your skill plus the relevant advanced skill if there is one. For you, it's second sight, right? Which I believe you have second sight at 1. And what is your skill as well?
My skill is 4. I rolled horribly on my stats, but that feels kind of fitting. But through my staff, I get a +1.
Okay.
So,
okay.
That's,
only
the second sight.
So you need to roll equal to or under 6 on 2d6.
I rolled a 4.
There is no magical effects from these leaflets whatsoever. It's probably just that, as the prolocutor said, Plandrons are pretty gullible people who are really impressed with anyone who uses big words. What your second sight does tell you is that the general design layout and the choice of green on green is awful.
I knew it. Okay, I'll maybe I should be like muttering to myself a little bit, but this doesn't seem to be that related. Oh, this won't help you with then. Not this won't lead you to any wizards. Just like muttering like vaguely in Tanru's direction, and just without even really looking, just sort of casually handing it back to the queen.
Fair enough.
This is always going to happen when your peasant literacy rates get too high. Like you just can't teach everyone to read. You get uprisings, you get communism, you get anti-monarchism.
People start having
you've made a rod for your own
opinions.
back.
Well, I've brought up this exact kind of thing with the Duke before. For a while, it was toyed with that the poll would be made illegal in Plandra, but I was assured by several experts that sometimes they produce things. So, in the end, we went a different way.
That doesn't sound likely.
Okay, you all reach, after trudging around these carpeted corridors for quite some time, an even grander set of doors than the one you came through. And these ones are kind of festooned with roots and sprouts and various bits of evidence of the Duke's presence. And you are ushered through, and you've met the Duke before. I found him a perfectly charming, if moderately odd individual. There he is. And he's sort of lurking, looking a bit wan and pasty and droopy, it has to be said, in the middle of the room. But as you come through, he kind of like slightly rotates in your general direction, and various flowered appendages wave in greeting. And he says, "Oh, my friends, it is good to see you once more."
I will bow deeply. Monkey probably falls off.
I will bow, but not too much. I make it clear that I am expecting a bow.
Sure. I want to,
one of those bows that is asking for a bow.
Yeah,
I know the kind.
We all know.
Yes.
The old reciprocal bow. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like etiquette or anything like that?
I
Do.
do.
Do you want to make an etiquette roll to see how well you bring across the notion that you expect a bow in return?
I do. I leveled this up as well. Oh, I rolled a 2, which is definitely under my target of 9.
Okay, yeah. Well, after your bow, you know what? the Duke has a bit of a problem with bowing, not philosophically, just physically. Like he moves around pretty slowly, crawling along the ground on these long root-like tendrils, and he kind of like bends a little forward. But there's only so much bending you can expect from someone whose torso is primarily made up of kind of cables of stalk and bark. You know what I mean? But for what it's worth, he does a little bow back and says, "Ah, Your Royal Majesty."
My good plant cellulose-based Duke, how are you keeping?
Slightly wilted, if I'm honest, Your Majesty, but I believe the Prolocutor has already informed you of the reasons behind this. I am incidentally very much enjoying Alex's discomfort at my voice for the Duke. Has everyone else kind of like made any kind of bow or obeisance in general? Like Carrick bowed until a monkey fell off, so set a kind of precedent.
Yeah, I think Tanru would bow. Tanru does in fact have one in etiquette, so that seems appropriate.
Yeah.
I think Tanru's avoiding speaking.
Met before. No, I think we know the norms of the correct way to present here.
So I believe Jeremy, the Prolocutor Jeremy, has informed you of our need for certain materials.
Yes. Actually, I should out of character now. Just suddenly realizing I don't know how you address a duke in my head. I was like, I just popped into your dukiness. Your dukiness. Sorry. Apologies to dukes watching everywhere.
No apologies from me, you freeloading pricks.
Really damage our Duke demographic appeal.
Wow.
I'm sorry, guys. Yes, the Prolocutor said that there's been some trouble with the wall, but were there not any other locations? Does it have to be the wall?
Well, first, may I say, it is wonderful to hear the old forms of address being used. And secondly, yes, the wall has been a source of this star loam for us for many years. Many years. There are rumors of other places where it might be located, though. There is persistent talk among the peasantry of a place known as the Blue Oak, and how it has become a source of these rare earths. But generally, we do find that we receive this material from the wall, where it is brought to me here in the palace and stuffed into my various cracks and knots to perform a valuable service to both my personage and the duchy itself.
Right. And who are those who normally deliver from the wall?
Well, there is a mine at the wall, you see, and we receive official shipments. I'm not sure of the bureaucracy of it myself. A little bit below the attention of the Duke, you understand?
Oh my gosh.
Shut up. This isn't for you to laugh, peasant.
Oh, that my queen, that might be somewhat unkind. Tanru here performed a valuable service to the royal flower beds. I can assure you he is both responsible, respectable, and extremely fervent in his duties.
Yes, while I appreciate that introduction, I'm still not entirely sure this is within my skill set. While I don't discriminate between, my sources of income, be they botanical or allegedly tyrannical, if the leaflet, very offensive leaflet, would be to be believed. I hunt wizards. It appears you would have me hunt weird dirt.
Oh yes, absolutely. The reason we thought of you, Tanru, is because you were so efficient last time, and also, frankly, disappearing Starloam has, to me, the smell of the magical and mysterious about it. It wouldn't be a surprise at all if at the end of this trail there was a wizard, or two, or even three.
That is too many wizards, arguably. Yes. Okay. Well, that makes some sense. Where you draw the line on what is wizard adjacent in a world containing illustrious plant beings such as yourself is somewhat hard to define. But yes, I will investigate.
I'm sure you will find that line. And to be honest, given you were both tenacious and successful last time, the line is one that the Duchy will consider to be a somewhat dotted line. We were more than happy with having to pay restitution to those families.
Well, I mean, what can I say? I take great pleasure in my work, and I like to involve as many people as possible.
Absolutely. And the Duchy is always on the lookout for more charcoal. Prolocutor Jeremy steps forward, largely to save my voice.
I was just trying to bait you into a really long back and forth.
Into a really long, sort of thing, and says, assuming you are perfectly happy to take this duty on, there will obviously be considerable payment from the Duke's estate. And we can provide you with some guidance on travel, fully paid for by the Duchy, of course. Either way, both the mine at the wall, where rare earths are almost guaranteed, and the Blue Oak, where rare earths are rumored to be by the uneducated masses, they both lie far to the south. You have a number of options in your travel in this way. There is a golden barge at our port, even now, ready to travel to the south in but a few days. It will attract a bit more attention. There's the potential danger of void beast attacks and the like. You are familiar with the difficulties of sky travel, certain tiresome formalities. There is also a stilt loper that can take you along the ground. It'll be a bit longer to travel, but will be incognito. An extremely specialized pilot is required, but will be provided.
Might I ask, is there what is, and I'll try to phrase this in a reasonably subtle way and probably not manage, the time pressures we might be under. Is there a I presume there's some degree of urgency to this task.
Oh my, yes. My mortal coil is quite swiftly unraveling. I would estimate a time that I have remaining in this plane of existence as somewhere between 4 and 24 days. $4d6. There's a number that is in between 4 and 24.
Then perhaps we should. I would. Perhaps a swift travel is the way we should go. We don't have time to look at the scenery. We should hurry.
I agree.
Of course. Well, in that case, the Golden Barge would probably be the swifter journey, although you have to wait a certain number of days for it to depart. That will take you on a journey that will certainly lead you. Well, it will be touching down at the landing port, which is quite near the wall. But I'm sure if you wished, you could travel from there further to where the Blue Oak is. Quite a stretch. Quite a stretch.
Look around at the others and see whether there are countering opinions.
I have said a number of things there in very silly voices, so I will take one step back and GM explain that to the rest of you. You're being offered two routes of travel, right? The Golden Barge, which you have to wait for, but is quicker, and maybe a bit more dangerous, or the Stilt Loper, which is more incognito, but will certainly take longer to travel. And I feel like kind of out of character a little bit. The Golden Barge is far more directly to the wall, and the Stilt Loper is far more directly to the Blue Oak. And while there will be certain points on those journeys where you've kind of gone past the point where you can cross over, you can definitely take each one and go to the other destination. But it will be quicker to Golden Barge to the wall or to Stilt Loper to the Blue Oak, assuming crazy shit doesn't happen on the way to like ping you off in various directions. And why would it do that? This is Troika. Right. So, yes.
If there's one thing that I've learned in all of my days and the things that I've seen, certainty. It is worth a lot. It is frustratingly unpredictable. We know that the Starloam exists at the wall. We've only got rumors, nothing more set than that, about this Blue Oak. I agree, the Golden Barge to the wall.
I agree, we are on the clock. And I don't want to risk going to a great deal of trouble and not getting paid.
I also agree with the wall, as if this Starloam did in fact exist at the Blue Oak, then there would be rumors from much more reliable sources.
Well, I suppose if we have to wait for the barge to depart, we can at least ask around and maybe find some more information before we travel. Tannery, that seems your sphere of work, perhaps.
Yes, I will be sure to use my extensive and in no way compromised local knowledge to chase down leads. Yes.
Yes, that'll do. The Duke and and Jeremy both kind of nod in satisfaction, and the Duke says, "Well then, I feel we are at an agreement, my friends, good friends. Please enjoy the time you have in the great metropolis of Plandra, waiting for the Golden Barge. It will all be expenses paid for you. And may I just express how thoroughly grateful I am for the effort you perform for myself and, of course, for the Duchy. Thank you."
Your
I will bow again.
Just sort of wave awkwardly, I think, while backing out of the room.
Sure. the prolocutor kind of like comes out with you and walks you back to the chamber. He tells you that if you go, the Golden Barge is the only one at the port currently. If you go there and present themselves, your names will be on a list, and you'll be given, the very best rooms on the Golden Barge for your travel south. And as you approach the room where you entered all the courtiers, and says, before you go, is there any other assistance you wish to be rendered to you? Is there anything else you feel we can do?
GM question. Do we have any familiarity with what the Starloam stuff is, and like actually how we can transport it? Like how big? Do we need a wheelbarrow? Do we just need a bag? No idea.
No idea at all.
Three
no
monkeys in the wheelbarrow. Like,
yeah. I suppose the advantage is the wall like delivered stuff, right? So maybe they've got methods of doing that you can re-engage, or who knows.
We could
have a question of exactly how much Starloam is required.
Oh, to keep the Duke alive for a number of weeks or months. Relatively little, maybe a sack's worth. But obviously, the more the merrier. I mean, the ideal thing would be if you could reinstitute the regular deliveries. It's going a bit Brian Blessed now. It's weird.
Might one expect a, how shall I say, proportionate compensation should we be able to reinstate those regular deliveries?
Well, I'm sure we can find a way to add a little bonus on top. Yes, of course.
Okay, that sounds very amenable.
And what do you think the Duke's opinions would be on perhaps exporting of excess Starloam to faraway forested lands, and possibly transportation back to those moonlit forest lands?
Anything was certainly possible. We could talk to the Duke and make some arrangement. Just let us know exactly where they are.
Yes.
Okay. The prolocutor wishes you well and kind of escorts you out of the doors back into the general court chamber, where, as you walk over to where you were waiting, your little mysterious friend you acquired in the first one shot is waiting for you. For anyone who needs that description again, or is coming to this for the first time, they have a little mysterious friend who acts as a henchman, who is basically a kind of between 3 and 4 foot high, little slightly rotund man in a multicolored sort of plate armor. Like each plate is a different color, carries a little lance festooned with ribbons and tassels of different colors. Yeah, he sees you coming towards him and goes, "Wah."
wave back.
What a peculiar creature.
He's a friend. He's a friend of ours. We
Oh, I
really
see.
must have introduced you.
Yes, I'm sure. I think I would have. Never mind. You know, it's.
He's not a wizard.
Oh no, I didn't get a sort of wizarding vibe. More of a sort of I don't know, just an oddity,
Mystery, perhaps?
Yes. Do any of you have some formalized mode of communication for this delightful creature, or is it more, humming, nodding, and winking?
Seems perfectly clear to me.
Yes, okay, I'm picking up on that now. shall we?
Okay, so as you leave the court, you can easily find the information of when the Golden Barge is leaving. And as for the answer to that question, can someone give me a D3 roll, please? Looks like John's got it. 1 day, which is kind of good, right? It gives you less time in Plandra, but also it gets you actually traveling faster. So with that in mind, what are people looking to do in Plandra in the day you have? There is, it's a vast sort of metropolis. You could shop for equipment, do some investigation, like try and investigate the seditious pamphlets, questioning importers, trying to find rumors, like all sorts of things is what we could do. And I guess my question would be, whatever you do, are you doing it together or are you doing it separately?
I don't necessarily want to do the annoying split the party thing, but I also feel like Tanru is probably trying desperately not to look incompetent while struggling with the fact that he remembers very little of his surroundings. So he's probably like trying to like regain or jog his memory about local knowledge and pick up on rumors and local sort of, I don't know, factional information and things like that, without tipping anyone off that that's what he's doing, as if he doesn't know anything.
Sure, absolutely. Anyone else doing anything in particular?
I think Nellheim has a definite kind of fondness, I think, for the Duke. This is like the only time she's ever been invited back somewhere, and that means a lot, you know. So these pamphlets and things like that feels upsetting, I think, to her. So I might offer to go with you, Tanru. Some of this stuff is new. These pamphlets and things, and there's maybe an opportunity here to like listen and don't. Everybody gets lost a bit sometimes, and as we can maybe explore the city and see if we hear any rumblings and little rumors and things that lead us down some interesting paths, one way or the other.
Okay, how about the Queen and
you'll have me, of course.
Yes, that'll be very expedient. Of course, I have a rich address book of contacts, but I don't think any of them will be able to help us, so we'll leave that for another time. I think some of them are on holiday, actually. It's that time of year, but we could find other people and new sources of information. It'll be very productive. Let's do that.
How about Carrick and the Queen?
Well, I think Carrick, given that Carrick was originally from the Wall, I think he'll be trying to find out sort of more information about whether he's got any contacts that would know why this trade route was blocked. Trying to hit up some old, send some lines of communication down the monkey wires. And
yeah, I like to think that like monkey mongers have like an informal network of information gathering and like sort of like a kind of brotherhood that like what are they called, the Brotherhood of the Crossed Keys in Grand Budapest Hotel, if anyone's familiar with that film, like that but with monkeys.
I think the monkeys have a secret handshake.
Yeah. Do the monkey mongers also have one, or is it just the monkeys?
No, just the monkeys.
Just the monkeys, yeah. It'd be weird to shake hands with a monkey. How about you, Queen Katrine?
Is there any sort of guild of mathemologists and or pubs that mathemologists might frequent?
I really
You
hope
definitely are far more likely to find a mathemologist at a pub than in some kind of professional environment. Yeah,
I feel like some sort of like real ale pub. Yeah.
Well, you could. So you're trying to find out where Nostrificans has gone to,
Yes.
because you know he's in the Duchy of Plandra somewhere.
Mm.
That's why you're here in the first place, and then you got sidelined by the Duke, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. As per the suggestion in our private chat here from Inga, there are a number. There's the Mathemologist's Arms. There's the Swan and Mathemologist. There's another equally funny suggestion.
Mathemologist's head.
The Mathemologist's head. Yeah. Arms and head. There's the Mathemologist's legs.
What?
That one fell flat.
That's nothing.
Arms, head. Fine.
There's the knees and the toes as well. Like, yeah, there's all sorts. Yeah.
And the shoulders.
Good joke, Inga.
This is what. So Nellime's been to all of these places. She's been to all these pubs, and she told them that this was too much competition in the real ale mathemologist focused industry, but none of them listened. She's going to avoid these pubs.
Well, in that case, I'm going to say that you told them the truth, and therefore there's only one left. And that one is the Mathemologist's knees and toes.
Did you just roll for that?
Yes.
Always. Always.
So there's that one. Okay. So Queen Katrine is going to try and find some trace of Nostrificans. Carrick is using the Monkey Monger network to try and figure out why these deliveries stopped happening. And Tanru and Nelheim are just generally kind of rumors, interesting things, odd.
Ear to the ground.
Ear to the ground stuff. Okay. We're not going to role play all this. We're gonna do some skill rolls and see what comes out of it. So Tanru and Nelheim, you can make either a skill or an advanced skill roll that you think is applicable to this, as long as it is applicable to this. You tell me what skill you want to use and how you think it's going to do it, and I'll either go cool or don't be fucking stupid. You're rolling your skill. So let's start with Nelheim.
Awareness, I think.
Yeah, great one. Great one. Classic.
So I've got rank 2 in this, and with my skill 4, gives me 6 total, and I rolled a 1 and a 4, so I roll under that. 5.
Okay. Well, while you're wandering the streets of Plandra with Tanru, you certainly do hear your share of interesting rumors. One in particular stands out to you, although it might not be useful in any way, shape, or form at all. But what it certainly is a thing you heard. So can you give me a D6 roll, please, for rumors heard further north and south? A 1. In that case, you hear from multiple people that Ibabia Igagak attacks are on the increase in the collapsing Mayas, but if you drag one from her hut, she will die instantly. It seems completely irrelevant to you, but
won't we all die eventually?
It seems likely. Tanru, what skill do you think you have to uncover rumors?
Well, my best skills are probably not that relevant here, but maybe I was thinking maybe there's like is there like a trade depot or something in this vicinity? I was thinking maybe I could try and break in and like find some manifests or something.
Is that with your sneak?
Either sneak or locks, yeah. Either. I'd probably sneak is more generally applicable.
Sure. So rather than going for rumors, because this is what Katrine is doing.
Oh, you're at the trading. I see. Okay, right.
Maybe we've gone in together, and while I'm chatting to people and like ear to the ground, little bit distraction is maybe too strong of a word, but more of a focal point for you to
Yeah.
to be
Meander
off
around
in the
and-
background. doing
Yeah, okay.
things.
Yeah, I guess I could. Yeah, okay, interesting.
So maybe you have a sneak in and try and look around while Katrine
Yeah.
tries to chat, to get more of a social,
Yeah, if Katrine. Yes, if yes, okay, that makes sense.
Katrine is social engineering, you're sneaky engineering.
Do you mean
Nellime, I
Katrine?
guess.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I'm
Nellime
at the pub.
Oh, you're at the pub.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, Carrick was the one looking for. Sorry, yeah, Carrick was the one looking for manifests and stuff. But you're doing that via the Monkey Monger now. It's all different. Tamru, go ahead. Just go ahead with your
Okay.
go ahead with your role. I got confused.
So, in which case, if I'm sneaking around looking for sort of, records or notes or whatnot,
Mhm.
so I roll sneak. Now, if I have 1 in sneak as my advanced skill, what's my target here? Am I rolling 1d6 and then
what is your skill? Your general
my
skill.
my general skill is 5 and my advanced skill sneak is
So
1.
what you do is you add those together,
and I want to
and
roll
then
under
you try and roll equal to or under that on 2d6.
2d6. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, that's not great. That's not great, guys. That's 9. So
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say you sneak around successfully, and you find that you are like you find yourself in an opportune looking area with a load of file cabinets stuffed with papers and duck's eggs and other weird happenings. And you basically find a file that looks extremely important. You manage to sneak out with it, but when you unfurl it in the alleyway afterwards, it is just stuffed with sheaf after sheaf of literally just seditious pamphlet after seditious pamphlet.
upsetting. Okay. They made a
It's
lot
quite
of
hard
these
to look at.
pamphlets.
It's
Yeah.
very jarring typeface choice.
Yes, it sounds disorienting. Yes. Okay, right. Well, that was a complete disaster. So I guess I'll just go and regroup with Nellime.
Sure.
Dejected.
Okay, let's go with Carrick. You found yourself some monkey mongers hanging around in the Monkey Monger district, obviously. And obviously you've shared some, typical trade talk and the usual Monkey Monger complaints about monkeys, about mongering the monkeys, monkey food, monkey excrements.
That's a lot of that.
Monkey unions, this typical kind of thing. What do you think you're going to roll to try and extract some information from the Monkey Monger network?
So this is the thing with Monkey Mongers. We have a limited, a focused skill set. And peeking behind the curtain a bit, my skills are climb, trapping, club fighting, and knife fighting. So I was wondering, perhaps, perhaps there are sort of Monkey Monger fighting pits where,
Sure.
Monkey Mongers gather together, and the Monkey Mongers fight in the pits while the monkeys exchange information and bet on the results. Maybe, I don't know. So. Club fighting,
John's down.
Yeah.
Down.
Well, we discussed in the first one shot, didn't we? Your advanced technique of the monkey tap.
Yes.
With your trusty club. So yeah, I think you can get into one of these Monkey Monger fight clubs and kind of presumably the winner gets to ask the loser one question.
That sounds good. I like the lore we're developing.
Yeah. And they have to give you their monkey truth, right?
Does it turn out that all the monkeys were the same monkey at the end, and they
they've actually
blow up a load of buildings and
they're trans? Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
Right. Okay.
Although rather than Where Is My Mind, it plays Monkey Gone to Heaven over the top.
Okay.
Oh, that's such a good Pixies joke, you guys. That I just won the Pixies internet, and so many of you don't even know that. Okay, calm down.
The visible
Let's
pain
have-
in your face is just remarkable.
Delicious.
I'm unappreciated in my time. Let's have a club fighting roll, please, Carrick.
Okay, so my club fighting rank is 2. That went up after all of the monkey tapping last time around. My skill is
Nice.
4. I rolled terribly. So a total of 6. I rolled 6. Is that...
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's equal to or under.
Phew, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Great.
You successfully thrash another monkey that's within an inch of his life.
It's not personal. I just,
No, you just want to make sure you get a good monkey truth.
Yeah.
And as that monkey monger is kind of like wailing and sort of writhing on the floor as you deliver one final monkey tap to the top of his cranium. Okay, you win. What is your monkey truth?
I really should have thought of a nice, quick, succinct. Starloam. Why? Who shut down the Starloam route and why? That's 2 truths. Damn it.
I don't know. I don't know why it all comes from a mine on the wall. I can tell you where it is. The wall's a big place. You'd struggle to find it otherwise.
That'll do.
Okay, you'll have to look for some drill columns, but I'll give you a wall map. Wall maps for the monkey mongers are basically like, follow this color monkey. If you see a monkey with this size head, you've gone too far. That kind of thing, and he gives you kind of like the monkey map to the
Nice.
to the mine on the wall, which he kind of like draws out for you with a kind of crayon on a little tattered paper, and then kind of marks the next and goes, here, Green Mine, it's called.
Thank you. Sorry about the taps.
No, I deserved it. Queen Katrine, you find yourself in the mathemologist's knees and toes. How are you going about trying to find a trace of Nostrificans?
I'm going to try and use tracking. What I'm thinking is, unless all mathemologists are hard light scaffolds, then there must be some indication of this guy. Like some kind of trace or lack of trace that he will leave. So I want to, go in and try and track him with lack of footprints.
Sure, or some other sign.
Something.
Yeah, some kind of weirdo thing was in here. Okay, give me a tracking roll then.
Okay.
Oh, incidentally, that's another rule for our new players' purpose, in case you didn't know. If you succeed on a roll during a session, just put a little tick next to the advanced skill, because that is what enables you to maybe level it up later. That's all.
I rolled a 3 with a target of 6, so I succeed.
Wonderful. While you are kind of poking around looking for, presumably trying to somehow scry with no ability or talent, the like kind of high density energy traces that a hard light scaffold might leave behind throughout this pub. While you're doing that, an old lady with a copious set of pink mustaches leans over and says, "Are you looking for Nostrificans?"
Yes. Bless you.
Thank you. He was in here. I figured you must be, because you seem to be looking for high energy signatures such as a hard light scaffold might leave behind.
That's a very good eye.
Thank you. I pride myself on that as alongside my ability to do quantum division. He was in here, and then he went somewhere to the south. He said something about a city.
Was that it? Right. Well, very good. And
Tip your local mathemologist. She holds out a little begging cup.
well, I do support the arts. And I'll pop a coin in the cup.
Oh, thank you.
And I will leave quite sheepishly for having been found, presumably crawling on my hands and knees under the table looking for tracks.
Very
That
unseemly.
seems to make sense. Okay. You all kind of return to presumably wherever you're staying, and kind of like to kind of spend the night before the barge leaves in the morning. But one more thing I would like, as you all return to your accommodation, is for all of you to perform an awareness or awareness-like role. If you can think of anything that you think might kind of like sort of do that, of like moving through the city and being aware of your surroundings, I'm willing to hear arguments. Tracking? Nah, it's the reverse of that, isn't it?
Right, I guess.
Oh, well, you know what? In this specific circumstance, actually, yes, I will allow tracking.
After this person, so
Sure, but that's not what you're looking for right now. But tracking
That's
does
true,
work
yeah.
here, and you'll find out why in a minute.
Would that just be for
Awareness.
Tanru, or could Katrine use tracking as well?
Yeah. Everyone can use tracking and awareness. Carrick, I don't think you've got anything in particular, ever, so you're just rolling your skill.
I got 5 under my 6 for awareness.
Nice.
Well, I
Tanru
went
did
and
not
rolled
succeed.
2 6s. It's going well.
Oh, and that
Yeah.
is a fumble.
Yeah.
I don't think it does anything particular in this. I think a double 6 always fails, but I don't think it is like a.
I don't like, trip over and land on my own sword or something.
No. If you cast a spell, you don't want to roll a fumble, but that's fine.
Right. Okay.
Did anyone else succeed?
No, I rolled a
well
6.
then, Nelime. While traveling through Plandra on the way back to your accommodation, and also just kind of like generally around, at first you think you're being paranoid, and then you see these people a number of times again, and you become somewhat suspicious. A number of individuals seem to be following you around, wearing expressionless gold masks and black leotards. But by the time you kind of get a good look at them, and maybe even try and stop and talk to them or interact with them some way, they melt away into the crowd. That's it.
Are we all in the same place for where we're staying overnight?
Let's say, yeah. You're living in the Troika Duchy ruled by a big plant man equivalent of the YMCA.
Bet the Queen loves that. Well, how did everybody's investigations go? There's definitely something funny in this town. Do you see those, I don't know, performing arts people or something? I don't know what they were, but the gold masks.
Yes, I'm surprised everyone seems very chill about the whole masked local theatre group action that was following us around. Personally, find that quite creepy. Since
when have actors been any kind of a threat?
Well, in numbers.
You'd be surprised, honestly. I I mean, anyone's case. You give someone some bad news. I just, as a general rule, no. But I don't know. You can't trust anyone really with these sorts of things. And I don't know. There was also some talk about attacks. Does anybody know what a nibabye is?
Not even slightly.
Well, whatever they are, be on the lookout. I don't know if it's related to the mine, but maybe that's causing some of the trouble with the trade route or something. I don't know. There's violence and worry afoot for sure.
Well, I did find the location of the mine, and I will hold up the crayon drawing map, probably to less, yes, the monkey map, to less enthusiasm perhaps than expected. I don't know. It's a perfectly, valid map.
Is the map sort of coherent looking, or is it just a mad, like monkeys can't scribbling?
Sorry, but it's in monkey cant. Yes, that's perfect.
Okay.
I just love the idea of holding up a map to present to people and immediately saying it's a perfectly valid map.
It's like
it's a perfectly valid
perfectly
map in a really
map.
defensive tone.
Yes. Preempting map criticism. Okay. Well, you've done better than I did. I found a lot of upsettingly color coordinated pamphlets. So I can't read your map, but I trust that whatever those squiggles are has some constructive use. What does it say?
It reveals the location of the green mine, the place where the Star Loam was.
They're big on green. These very big on green. A lot of green, almost too much green.
They are ruled by a plant.
Yeah, it's a bit on the nose, isn't it?
Do plants have noses?
It's a bit on the stain. I don't know, like.
But that's not a plant's nose.
That's not a nose.
That's
I abandoned that
different
sentence
part
very
of the
quickly. Look,
Euphemistically speaking, or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
before we make any more talk of stamens, sorry, actually, John, is Queen Katrine mentioning the hint to nostrificans as well, or?
I will simply say that I was attending to other royal business.
Okay, fair enough.
is that like poop?
Well then,
What was that?
Not nothing. No, it's fine.
So you spend the night in as much comfort as is possible in the Plandra YMCA. And in the morning, you have to make your way to the launching point of the golden space barge. It's called Heaven's Frenzied Stare. And as you board it, there are announcements coming from oddly kind of carved description here, and I'm desperately trying to vamp while I
so it's very hard to find things you need whilst talking about not finding
whilst
things.
Talking about the yes, absolutely. Okay. So there are bold steel masks dotted around the ship, and they sort of crackle into life as you come aboard. They welcome you aboard the ship and announce that the launch will be imminent, and it will be kind of not to be alarmed at the slightly unconventional method. It refers to something called a gigantic auxiliary slingshot mechanism due to some light decay in the main drives. It says to get yourself to your cabins, get yourself bundled in, and maybe tuck yourself into a small space with something pliable or comforting. And you'll be on your way before you know it. And on that note, let's take a little 10-minute break. as we await the launch of the Golden Barge. Yeah, we'll be back in 10 minutes, folks. We'll see you then.